Thinking about retirement, but not sure if you're really ready? There are 4 questions most people never ask until it's too late, but they can make the difference between living comfortably and running out of money. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to answer before you even think about retiring. To start, I have to show you how the biggest source of stress in retirement isn't just how people spend their time. It's how they'll replace the steady paycheck they've relied on for decades. But there's actually a simple strategy to do this. When you're working, your paycheck is like a faucet in your kitchen. Every 2 weeks, you turn the handle, and just like magic, money flows out. You don't have to think about it. It's always there, reliable, and easy. But once you retire, that faucet turns off. Suddenly, the steady stream stops. Now, you're left with a well out back, your retirement savings. There's plenty of water down there, but getting it isn't as simple as just turning a handle. You have to lower a bucket, draw up just what you need, and make sure you don't take too much at once, or the well could run dry. So how do you make sure you always have enough water, enough income when you need it, now that you're in charge of drawing from the well? Here's how. Start by figuring out what you'll need each month and what's already coming in, like Social Security or a pension. The difference is what you'll need to draw from your savings. Once you know that, set up an automatic transfer so your own paycheck arrives right on time, just like it always did. That way, you can focus on enjoying retirement instead of worrying about when the next bucket of water is coming up. Now, you've swapped your paycheck faucet for a well of retirement savings. You're carefully drawing up what you need, making sure not to take too much. But here's the catch. What if just as you start relying on that well, you notice the water level dropping fast? Every time you lower your bucket, there's less than before. It's that same feeling as checking your phone for a message that never comes, or refreshing your bank account after a big bill, except this time, it's your future on the line. The more you check, the more anxious you get, wondering if that well will ever refill. When the market crashes, it's as if someone poked a hole in your well. Now the water is slipping away even faster. So the big question is, how do you make sure your well doesn't run dry if the market takes a hit right after you retire? Run your retirement plan through some tough scenarios. What if the market tanks by 20% as soon as you retire? What if your investments don't grow for years, like the lost decade where the S&P 500 was flat from 2000 to 2009? If your plan can handle those storms, you'll sleep a lot better. And remember, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Spread your investments out so you're not left high and dry if one area falters. Once you've safeguarded your savings, another challenge comes into focus. One that isn't about money and catches the most successful retirees completely off guard. The year is 2004, and Michael Phelps had just won his first gold medal at the Olympics. What came after wasn't anything like he expected. His entire focus had been on reaching that finish line. But once he crossed it, he was blindsided by a depression unlike anything he'd ever experienced. And here's the thing. This isn't just an athlete's story. When many successful people finally reach retirement, they experience the exact same thing. They cross their own finish line and then wake up the next day filled with anxiety, wondering, now what? That's why it's so important to know what you're retiring to, not just what you're retiring from. Most people spend years planning their exit, but very few plan what comes next. The good news, there's a way to make sure you don't end up in that now what moment. It's a framework we share with clients to help them find meaning in this new chapter of life. We call it the 3 C's. The first C will enable you to feel like you're moving forward each day, not just filling time. One of the biggest challenges in retirement is that momentum no longer comes built in. There's no project at work, no deadline, no boss giving feedback. Without that, it's easy for the days to start blurring together. And to get this, all you do is commit to making something small each day. It could be a paragraph in a journal, a new recipe in the kitchen, or a flower planted in the garden. It doesn't matter how big or how small. What matters is the act of creating, something you can see with your own eyes. It sparks joy, gives us a sense of progress, and reminds us we're still growing. Creativity is what keeps retirement alive, and it's critical you never lose it. The second C will enable you to feel a real sense of belonging and avoid the quiet loneliness that can creep in after retirement. When work ends, the natural interactions, colleagues to talk with, goals to share, stories to swap can disappear almost overnight. And without something to replace them, days can quickly feel empty. And to get this, all you do is take one small step to engage with others. Whether it's coffee with a friend, a walk with a neighbor, or joining a group that shares your passions. The action doesn't need to be big. What matters is simply making the effort to connect. Because that's what this C is, connection. We're wired for it. And study after study shows that strong relationships are one of the biggest predictors of happiness and health. It's critical you never let this one slip. And the third C will help you feel that you're leaving a mark, even in the everyday moments of retirement. Work gave you that naturally, mentoring others, helping colleagues, finishing projects. Without that structure, it can feel like you're no longer a part of something larger. And to get this, all you do is look for ways, big or small, to pour into others. Write a note of encouragement, pass along your knowledge, or support a cause you believe in. Even the smallest act of generosity can ripple outward, because that's what the last C is, contribution. It's the quiet force that reminds you you're still shaping lives, still building a legacy, and still making a difference. And that's why you can't afford to lose it. Before you retire, take a few minutes to brainstorm ideas for each C. Write them down. Even one small step in each area can turn your retirement from an ending into an exciting new beginning. But here's the thing. There's one problem that can ruin even the best retirement plans. Imagine this. After months of talking about taking a big trip together, the day finally arrives. You've packed your bag, laced up your hiking boots, and you're waiting by the door, ready to conquer that mountain. But then, your spouse comes downstairs in flip-flops and sunglasses, towel slung over their shoulder, clearly set for a relaxing day at the beach. Suddenly, you both realize you had completely different ideas about what this trip was supposed to be. You both planned, you both prepared, but for totally different adventures. This isn't just a funny mix-up. It's a perfect metaphor for what can happen with bigger life plans. When it comes to retirement, I've seen couples in this exact situation. One person is dreaming of traveling the world and chasing new experiences, while the other can't wait to settle down, spend time with the grandkids, and enjoy a slower pace at home. If you don't talk about your vision, you might end up working toward two very different futures without even realizing it. So how do you make sure you're both heading toward the same adventure when it comes to retirement? Set aside time with your spouse to talk about retirement. Start with 2 questions. What does your ideal retirement look like? And what do you think it will cost? Because different dreams come with different price tags. Jetting off to see the world or joining a country club takes a different plan and a different budget than quiet days at home with the grandkids. Getting clear on these 2 things together is the first step to building a future you'll both love and making sure you're not planning for 2 totally different adventures. But even if you and your spouse are totally aligned on your retirement dreams, there's still one big question left. Do you actually have enough to make it happen? That's where most people get stuck. They just don't know if their savings will cover the life they want. And if you want to learn the 3 simple numbers that you need to know to see if you have enough to retire, check out this video where I walk through just that.